No, I'm not in the Soviet Union, though one would be forgiven for thinking so. Hello everyone, welcome to the Freedom Alternative. We are in downtown Windsor, Ontario in Canada, and oh boy, where the hell do I even start? So, as I was saying in the previous video, which I taped from the other side of the river, we came down here to conduct a little bit of political research, basically, because we have read that this is a primarily automotive city, and although we also heard that it has a little bit of a small college, so maybe we could hit two things at once. We could get some social justice warriors, and also we could get to speak a little bit with what we thought would be the white working class, basically. What ended up being is we hit the social justice warriors, but we haven't been able to find the working class, at least not the working part, because welcome to Canada. Just 200 300 meters into the country, the first news that we got is that the biggest hotel in town is shut down because of a strike. And to me that sounds like Soviet times, or maybe France, which is still Soviet. What do you mean, dude? What do you mean we can't check in? Oh yeah, no, it's a strike, and everything that has to do with the biggest hotel in town is not working. Okay, fine. Then we found out that there are several very important events in town, and as a result, most of the lodging was already sold out. Anyway, eventually we found something in the middle of nowhere, about 9 kilometers away from downtown. Tolerable, but what we could not find, and this is quite a disappointment, is we could not find a normal working class white man. I just don't think they exist here, which begs the question, where the hell is that automotive flavor of the town? I mean, who works there? We just couldn't we were unable to find anyone, and we looked up where you usually look up these people, in a pool house, in a bar, No, just nobody. What we got, however, were a lot of discussions about cultural appropriation, believe it or not, and a little bit about misgendering, at midnight, basically. And this tells me everything I need to know. I mean, some of you ask me, well, why don't I come on more often and conduct political research here? There's nothing to research. There just isn't. And to add insult to the injury, you always run the risk of having someone explaining to you why it's better for you not to be free. I mean, the second a cab driver explains to you why it's so great not to be free, you're like, that's it, we're putting up the wall. I mean, Trump is really wrong in trying to put up the wall at the border with Mexico. It should be put around this river. I mean, seriously, it's just terrible. So yeah, this is one of the rare moments when whatever we wanted to research kind of failed, because there's nothing to research, and there's not even one person that is sociable in the sense that you can actually meet that person in person somewhere on the streets of what used to be a working class city. Not anymore, sadly. And to put it all in, basically to top it off, the weather sucks as well. I mean, it's just a few kilometers off the US border, and the weather suddenly sucks. I mean, it's just wow. And to me, it's just a question of, why do people still live here? I mean, seriously. If I had been misfortunate enough to have been born here, The second I would have turned 18, I would have dedicated every waking hour for the next several years to figure out a way to get out of here and never come back. Because it's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And we were making jokes that some of the proportions of this city center, I mean, this is downtown. This is not some periphery, whatever. Some of the portions of this city center, of this downtown, look a lot worse than what communist Romania used to look like 30 or 35 years ago. So I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, on paper, this is allegedly a very wealthy country, and some leftists even like to claim that this country is per capita is slightly wealthier than the United States. Bollocks! Absolute and utter bollocks! It's just not the case at all. I mean, I guess the word of order for this little trip to Canada is uncivilized. I mean, most of the things that I've been able to see and witness with my own eyes here is uncivilized. Fundamentally, not necessarily poor, but uncivilized. Too bad that I didn't get to take in more footage from last night, especially in the middle of the night. I mean, we were feeling like the zombies. We were the only people who were awake, basically, and sober. I guess that's the word I'm looking for, sober. We were the only people who were sober, and everyone else was zombies. And I don't mean necessarily drunk. I mean, yeah, sure, there are a lot of people who have been drinking a lot, but there are a lot of people who've been high, I guess is the word I'm looking for, with all sorts of very, very weird drugs, and terrible, absolutely terrible. So yeah. And I guess I should be very careful not to misgender anyone, because this is the province with the social justice tribunals, and I want to end up in one of their gulags. Still, question: is Canada female or male? I mean, my gut tells me it's female because it ends in A and it has that slow name, but then it has a strong vowel D, Canada. So maybe it's, I don't know. I don't want to misgender, I don't want to break the law for as long as I'm here. Anyway, jokes aside, this place is terrible. It just is. And now I understand why there are so many individuals coming from here and trying to push back against this nonsense, because it kind of makes sense. The whole place is just insane. It is. No, terrible. Oh, and their taxes. Jesus Christ, man. I sometimes I like to joke with and joke at the expense of my Hungarian friends with their huge VAT and whatnot. Man, no, the Hungarian taxes are fantastic when compared to Canada. I mean, yeah, sure, they have a huge VAT, but at least it's upfront, and it's not such a huge burden as the taxes are in this country. I mean, it's absolutely atrocious. Basically, Canada is like what Europe would look like if there would be no nations and no countries and nothing to stop the avalanche of totalitarian insanity. That's Canada for you. Terrible. Anyway, I guess that's it for now. I'll be heading back to the United States because, yeah, no. I guess I'm gonna try to get some nice footage from the skyline of Chicago, or maybe I should get some skyline of Detroit as well. By the way, Detroit, if you haven't seen the previous video, Detroit is actually nice. I mean, when you're driving around Windsor, you look towards downtown and say, okay, look, that's where civilization is supposed to be, and you drive all the way there and you notice that, oh wait, all the nice things are actually across the border, not on this side of the border. Absolutely atrocious. And I also had to buy coffee from Starbucks, as much as I tried to avoid that. And the reason I did so is because, Starbucks has a lot of bad ideas, and Starbucks is a very, very left-wing organization. But when you compare it to the average, the center of Canada, Starbucks appears to be very far right. I mean, I don't think I can describe in words, at least not now in this parking lot in front of this communist building. I don't think I can begin to describe just how far left this place is. It's absolutely amazing. Amazing and atrocious. I mean, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know. For my Canadian followers, what the hell are you doing? I mean, I don't know, let's do a fundraiser, something. Let's start helicoptering people, because this is terrible. Anyway, I guess with all of that being said, I'm going to head back to the United States, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers.